My name is Daniel Maddox. His name is Daniel Maddox. I understand. When a Project Mayhem member is executed, then he has an identity. Just misquoting Fight Club ad infinitum. Today, we will be talking about tarot. The divination arts, one of them. The other three of the most popular variety being astrology, numerology, and Kabbalah. Each of them being its own unique version of the same thing. A tool to understand your psyche. What's really the motivational factors and the acting forces within. So I started the tarot basically just to figure out more about myself with the esteemed suggestions and guidance of someone like Michael Tessarion, who is very much into the tarot. I couldn't stay away. It'd be foolish. The way he describes it, just saying, basically, if you have this ability, you have access to the greatest teachers ever to be devised, ever to exist. Because it's you, and you are everything. So having these tools allows you to figure that out, to see it more clearly. And it's not like, oh, this is the thing that most people get wrong about the divination arts. They think that you are actually seeing into the future, and that, or you're seeing into someone's mind, and people can do that. I'm not saying that is not possible, or that's not what's happening in the case that you may have experienced. However, what is really going on with these cards is, imagine it's like a brain map. It's a map to your psychology. And the better you understand that, and the better you allow connections to build themselves within yourself to decode reality, to decode your action-reaction paradigm, that which makes you you. What makes Daniel Maddox Daniel Maddox? Well, first of all, he acts a certain way. His mind goes to certain places in certain times, pre-programmed. Either pre-programmed or programmed during life. But this is just like the guide map, okay? So I'm just going to do a quick little thing here. I'm going to have a question in my mind, and then I'm going to do what's called a Celtic Cross spread, which is the spread that the Rider Tarot deck actually suggests. It's in the booklet. It's one of them that they suggest. It's not the easiest, but it is one of the most widely used. Okay, so my question is, what should I be doing for work? Okay, so for this session, and for every session, you should always announce it out loud, okay? So what should I do for work? What should my time be filled with to make Federal Reserve debt notes? And even beyond that, just wealth, health, and all that stuff. How am I making that happen? Okay? So that's my question. And then once you have the question, you take the deck, split it in half, and you shuffle it 3 times. What should I do for work? What am I suited to most for work? Now, the thing about the tarot is it has to have 78 cards, okay? It just has to, because that's how many are in the real deck, okay? There has to be a certain amount of the major arcana and the minor arcana. Basically, an arcana is like magic, so the greater magic and the lesser magics. So if you want an explanation for that, basically the major arcana are the dominant subconscious archetypes. They're basically the major archetypes of the human soul. And so the minor arcana are the minor personality traits and things that you may experience in your life. So the way it works is you basically start off with a signifier card. Usually you pick that out, but I didn't do that this time. So I'm going to basically flip up the first card, and this is going to be the card that signifies me now. I'm just going to leave myself out of the signifying, because usually you look through the deck and, you know, if you're a dark-haired person, it's one card. If it's a light-haired person, it's another card. But you basically look for someone that looks like you or that you feel represents you. And it doesn't even have to be a face card. It could just be a number, like the Five of Wands or something like that. But basically, you draw the first card, and that's where you are now. And so for me, that's the Empress. Now I'm going to go through what each of these things mean as we go along. But the card, and I always flip it up to myself like this, and then put it across. So it's one down and across. And so this is the Knight of Swords. This is my opposition right now. And now you do the card that goes above, which is the Six of Swords, below, which is the Ten of Swords, behind, which is the Seven of Swords, and then in front, which is the Tower. Where I am, how I feel about all this stuff, Sun. The Six of Staves is my fears. No. That's my environment, the people around me, the things that I have to, you know, the environment with which I can interact with. And then the card above that is the Four of Cups, which is my hopes and my fears. And then the Nine of Swords is the outcome. So, here, I don't even know what that does. Okay. So, this is what it looks like. Now, it's pretty whitewashed. Okay. So, because I'm not so good that I don't have everything memorized, I'm still using the book. Now, the first card that I turned up, I have to say that covers him or me. This is the person or thing's general environment at the time, the influence which he is actuated all throughout. Okay, so now the Empress. The Empress. Now, she was right side up. The cards have different meanings depending on how they're situated. The Empress. Fruitfulness, initiative, action, long days, clandestine, the unknown, difficulty, doubt, and ignorance. Now, it wasn't reversed. If it had been reversed, it would be light, truth, unraveling of involved matters, public rejoice, also, according to other readings, vacillation. So, I think vacillation means that you're just talking over and over and over and out loud, and you're just talking about things. But fruitfulness, initiative, action, long days, clandestine, the unknown, difficulty, doubt, ignorance. All right, so that is where I am right now. I can tell you that for sure, because I mean, I have fruitfulness, but there is also doubt, and I'm getting more into the action. I need the initiative. Definitely facing the unknown, and there's definitely difficulty, and I'm definitely remaining ignorant of certain things by choice. So what crosses me is the Knight of Swords. These are actually my obstacles, the things that really... Exactly. Knight of Swords. So in this case, since it's crossing, it doesn't necessarily. There's no reverse to it. Skill, bravery, capacity, defense, address, enmity, wrath, war, destruction, opposition, resistance, and ruin. Seems like this is always my card. Now, the next card is the top card. So this one is above. So this crowns him, represents the best that I can arrive at, the ideal no matter what I want to make my own. And that was the Six of Swords. So, Six of Swords. And it's upside right, or right side up. And journey by water, route, way, envoy, commissary, expedient. So basically, the best that I want to hope for is to be the messenger and to journey across to the new world, to the new realm. Now that which is below me, this is beneath you. This is that which I have to work with. And can use. So this is the Ten of Swords reversed. Advantage, profit, success, favor, but none of these are permanent. Also power and authority. Alright, so my advantage is that I have so many people at my back, and that for me the profit does not need to be big. And, but these are things that I already have. And this is all in relation to the question, which is what my work should be. So I have my advantages from profit and success and favor from the past. Or this is what I already have. Now, my past card is the Seven of Swords. Right side up. Design, and this is something that's happened in the recent past. So we have design, attempt, wish, hope, confidence, also quarreling, a plan that may fail, annoyance. Design, attempt, wish, hope, confidence, also quarreling, a plan that may fail, annoyance. Well, this is all having to do with rejuvelation and all my fears and hopes with that. And is it really it always comes back to that being like, is this really what I should be doing with my time? Is this my highest for my highest? So, yeah, there's a lot to consider in that. Now, my future is the Tower, and it's in the same time field. So, as however long ago this card was, this card is in relation to it. So if this was 2 months ago, this will be 2 months in the future. The Tower. Misery, distress, ruin, indigence, adversity, calamity, disgrace, deception. Okay. So, not exactly the best card to get from my future. Indigence, adversity, calamity, disgrace, deception. Nobody wants to get this Tower card. I'm telling you, man, nobody. So, here's how I feel about it in the next. I got the Sun. Material happiness, fortunate marriage, contentment. So that's how I feel about my job prospects. Now the 8th card represents my house, the environment, the people around me that are influencing me, and that is the 6 of Wands. Right side up. The card has been so designed that it can cover several significations. On the surface, it is a victor triumphing, but it is also great news, such as might be carried in state by the king's courier. It is expectation crowned with its own desire, the crown of hope. So now the 9th card is my hopes and fears, and that is the 4 of Cups, which is wariness, disgust, aversion, imaginary vexations, as if the wine of this world has caused satiety alone. Satiety. Another cup of wine, as if a fairy gift is now offered him, but he sees no consolation therein. This is also a card of blended pleasure. So much in this. It's tough. And then reverse 9 of Swords for the outcome of all of this. Imprisonment, doubt, suspicion, reasonable fear, shame. Overall, my job prospects are looking like total ruin. Imprisonment, doubt, suspicion, reasonable fear, shame. You see my face right now? You see where I'm going with all this? You should, because all this stuff that is in my mind is in your mind as well. I was about to take a picture of this, and then I realized I've already taken the picture. You're it. So yeah, what should my work be? Well, my work should be nothing that makes me feel that I am, doing things that I shouldn't. That makes me feel empowered and does do the right thing. There's a lot of swords here. A lot of swords. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 swords out of 10 cards. And swords represent action. 5 swords, and even the Empress is... No, she's holding a wand. 5 swords, 1 cup, 1 staff, and 3 face cards. 3 major arcana and 7 minor arcana. There's so much that you can take from all of it, but what I want to impress upon you mostly is buy a deck, start using it, do something simple, card a day, pull it out, let your mind go with it. If it takes you to dark places, good. Dig that stuff out. Like what just happened with me with this deck. Nobody wants to hear that they're going to prison for what they do. But we could all be going to prison no matter what we're doing. You could be selling nuts and bolts. You could be a banana merchant go to jail. You could be working for anybody. You could be. There's no safety in what you choose to do for work. The safety that you get in this world comes from who you decide to be. And so, have you decided to be a moral person? Have you decided to be someone who will stand up for what's right, even if it's unpopular, even if it puts you at great risk for losing what you may perceive to be vastly important? So much more important than morality that you would turn a blind eye to atrocity for your own momentary comfort. What should I do for a job? What's my job? Everything in that, really, it seemed to be negative to me. And what that does is it makes me really consider. And I remember, with every single reading that you get, that you do, it should be done by yourself, because that's when you get the truest. First, have someone do it for you, and maybe a few times after that, and then really try to integrate it. But it's meant to be done by oneself, because the greatest teacher that you will ever have is yourself. Period. So, get an intro with somebody, but then get your own deck and do it yourself. And, get a Rider Tarot deck. Looks like this. This is the standard for the whole thing. It's the most widely used. But, just make sure there's 78 cards. And, there's 22 major arcana and 56 lesser arcana. Has to be that. Okay? If it's not that, it might still work, but it won't be the complete thing. Because remember, it's ancient psychology that we're talking about here. I've decided to not edit my videos. A, because it takes too much time. B, because it should just flow. It should just be. And this isn't really about my face, And so the podcasts might just start being completely audio. But what I have to say about what we're facing is we need, as individuals and as a people, to really start unlocking the doors to the closets, smashing the locks on the basements of our archetypes, and who's really who in this carnival of souls. It's like everything that you think you are is always a phantom. It's only when you truly know, and that there isn't any question, that's when the highest can manifest. But as long as it's just something that you think or believe, which are the same things, then the true power will never be released into this world. So, it is your task to figure yourself out. And ain't nobody else can do it for you. Ain't nobody gonna do it for you. My job prospects are looking like total revamp. Now, you may ask, Danny, what good is it to you now? It's all negative. And now you're getting nothing to work with. Well, there were positives, in the cards. It's just when you hear something that's, even if it's 50% negative, 50% positive, you dwell on the negative. Even if it's just, a small percentage point, people like to dwell on the negative, because that's where the ego steps in and say, this ain't happening. They say, this isn't real. There ain't no negatives in my world, cuh. But you gotta cut that out, because there's negatives in everything. Everywhere there's a negative, there's a positive. You don't believe me? Ask mathematics. It's mathematics. And long story short, tarot's the way. Tarot means truth. Comes Taruth. Torah. Where is that even? Is that the Empress card? I think it's the Empress card. She. The Hierophant. Oh God, there's so many cards. The World. Justice. The Chariot. Who's bad? Watch, it's going to be the last card. The High Priestess. Here she is. See that scroll there? It says Torah. The Torah. The Taruth. Truth. That's where the word truth comes from. And so the truth is partially concealed in her robe, so you can never know the full truth. And even if you could, it could never be uttered. So she holds the truth. And you can see Boaz and Jacqueline, the two pillars beside her, which are the pillars of Freemasonry, basically. The pillars of action and emotion. And then the central beam being... no. It's... Boaz is the pillar of thought, Jacqueline, emotion, and then the central pillar would be action, which is the Holy Father, Holy Mother, Holy Son. If I have my Secret Society Fan Club Knowledge Codex updated correctly in the old data bank noodle. That old thing they call the brain. Something's wrong with his Abdullah Ablong. Kadula Medulla. Batula motif. How many cups of coffee did you have before making that tarot video, Danny? Alright, that's only partially true. None within the last few hours. Now I'm going to write in the old Bible-roo. The old... like journals, for instance. What if the Bible was literally just some drunken encampment of gypsies, like, telling tall tales and just writing it all down and then just, like, laughing it off into the sunset with their mead wine. And then some people got together and they undug it and they're like, oh my God, the truth! If only that were... I'm sure there's elements of it, but mostly a lot of historical fact, mostly allegory.